Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rodney's Life Lessons. Today I'm going to talk about psychedelics, or as I now refer to it, plant medicine. And I'll explain why they differentiate. I'll give you a little bit of background information about myself and my experiences. I grew up in a small town in Canada called Port McNeill. Loggers and fishermen and miners, kind of very rednecky. And I did a lot of psychedelics growing up. My father did it with me often. So I was kind of immersed in that lifestyle, did lots of mushrooms and acid and all that stuff. And the reason why you differentiate between psychedelics, i.e. drugs, or plant medicine, is the approach that you take to these substances. As a teenager growing up, I just saw it as a way of, getting high and partying and stuff like that. And that's not why these substances are on our Mother Earth. That's not why these substances are available for a consumption. I've been trained quite thoroughly by the indigenous elders on the correct use of plant medicine. Now, even things like cannabis. I was a heavy cannabis user until just a few years ago. I used to grow the stuff. I used to smoke an ounce a week. I was like known to be one of the guys that smoked so much. And that all stopped. Firstly, cannabis is not a bad thing. But like everything else, it's in moderation. I'll just touch a bit on this substance before we carry on to true psychedelics. When I would be doing Zoom calls, and I would not smoke cannabis for 3-4 days, so my mind would be clear and I'd be on my A game. And then when we finished the Zoom call, I would usually have something waiting, and then I would consume that. And then it would be almost a spiritual experience. I would go very deep inside, and I was often moved to tears at times. But then I would do more in a couple hours, and right away it was gone. That spiritual aspect was gone, and it was like alcohol. It lowered me spiritually. Truly, truly did. And the more I did throughout the day, you wanna hide under your own bed in your own room, and there's nobody around, and there's no reason to feel this way. It's not meant to be used in such a manner. So I'm not saying anything against any substance and people's use of it and how they treat it. But I know for me personally, what I've been taught, what I've experienced, this is not the way to use these substances. So that's a little bit about cannabis. Now back to psilocybin mushrooms, and also 5-MeO-DMT, which is called the God particle. So I've been taught, and I spent time in the Navajo Nation where they use peyote in ceremony. I was taught about psilocybin. And see, the difference between, plant medicine and psychedelics, because it brings you to places in an altered state, like an absolute altered state. When you do plant medicine, you do it in a ceremonial setting. This is really important. So how I would prepare is I would weigh out the amount that I wanted to do. I would put it in a blender and the coffee grinder and get it a powder so it wouldn't give me an upset stomach and make me nauseated. I would put it in the water, I'd pour it, and then I'd let it steep. And while it was steeping, I would, have it in front of me. I would then I would then pray to the four directions. I would ask the ancestors of the east, the south, the west, and the north to be present in this ceremony, to help me to find answers to the questions that I've been seeking, to visit me, and to be gentle with me as I journeyed into the altered states. I would smudge myself. I would smudge the plant itself. I would pray to the plant itself that, again, please be gentle. Please guide me in a good way. Help me to find those answers that I'm seeking. And you go in with an intent. You don't just go, I wonder what's going to happen. Now, you may have some questions and they may potentially answer in a different way, but you go in with an intent. So I would smudge, I would pray, I would pray to the substance, and then I would consume. And I'd usually drink the mason jar full of the tea. Usually takes 20 minutes to half an hour before you start feeling the effects. And another really important factor is these medicines have been used for hundreds and thousands of years in the shamanic communities as a medicine. And the shamans, they would use a drum. So if any of you want to truly experience the plant medicine, psilocybin, magic mushrooms, you must, I'm not going to say you must, to get the full benefits, get a drumming track. I recommend Michael Harner, a 30-minute drumming track on YouTube, and have it queued up, have it ready on your phone. You don't want commercials interrupting, so you want to download it, and then have it queued up. And I would use headphones. So once you start feeling the effects of the medicine, you put your headphones on and you start the drumming track. And it's simply dum 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 dum. It's just a drumming. That's all it is a drumming. Now the drumming will lead you. The drumming is a way of shamanically journeying, which I've studied as well. Sandra Engelman, Michael Harner. I've studied these quite a lot. I've read a lot on the subject. I've had powerful shamans journey for me, and I am a person that is studying the subject deeply. So I remember the first time that I did that way. I went, I'm not going to share too much about my personal experiences because they were personal experiences, and I was visited by the ancestors, and that is sacred to me, so I'm not going to share it with you. So the first time I did with the drumming tract, as I'd been studying shamanism, and this was the logical thing to do, was I went to journey. I was going to use the medicine to journey shamanically. You go to the lower, the middle, or the upper realms. And I was whisked off to Mayan, Aztec scene setting, because the medicine that I used, it was called Mazapatec psilocybin, which is the original medicine from Mexico, introduced to North America, and sort of began the plant medicine psychedelic experience to people in North America. And I was hit with 12 layers of visuals that surrounded me 360 degrees. And it was the most beautiful visual experience I've ever had. And my mind could take it all in. This was the advanced state that I was in. So there's 12 layers coming at me from every angle, and it just waves washing over me. And I'm just like, holy, wow, this is incredible. And then I thought, is this the drumming? So I stopped the drumming, and boof, the vision stopped. And I go, no way. And so then I started the drumming again, and whoa, the vision started again. So it's critically important that we treat this as a ceremony substance. You pray about it. You ask to be guided in a good way. You ask to be taught things, to be healed of things. There may be something that is troubling you and you want some help from the ancestors with. And when used with respect, it will bless you in powerful ways. Like I've had 3 significant experiences where I was literally visited by intelligent, otherworldly, ancient gods, ancient beings. I was shown places. It's like, these are life-changing moments. Now, I can reflect. So this is when I did it in ceremony, when I showed it the respect. Another situation, I had a neighbor come over and I said, "You want to do some mushrooms?" And he goes, "Heck yeah." So I just measured out a small amount. I wasn't, going on a journey, and it was just a little bit relaxing. And within 20 minutes, half an hour, this person was having a bad experience. He ended up, calling staff. He ended up calling the ambulance. I said, "This is what happens when you don't show it the respect and do it in ceremony." He goes, "I don't care. I don't want none of that woo-woo stuff." But this is the importance of showing the plant the respect it deserves. If you don't, you're going to get your ass kicked. I'm not kidding. And it's not a threat. It's just, this is a medicine that's used for thousands of years, but we must show it respect. Another substance that I have used and brought about a dozen and more people through ceremony with is 5-MeO-DMT. This is called the God particle. I know the first time that I experienced this, see what happens is there's 5-MeO-DMT and there's NN-DMT. NN-DMT is the one that is mixed with the leaf, and this is your ayahuasca. 5-MeO-DMT is not this hyper-visual experience. This, as they call it the God particle. What happens is you literally feel in every cell of your body, like I'm not kidding, you feel and you realize that you are God having a human experience. You literally, you do your hand and you move it. And I thought, oh my God, this can help people. Because I was working in harm reduction. I was working with addicts and mental health patients. And I took a dozen or more of these people through this ceremony. I would smudge them. I would pray to the 4 directions. I would call on the ancestors. I'd ask for them to be helped and healed. And every single one of those people, this is the most profound experience I've ever had. People crying, people foaming at the mouth, people peeing themselves. Like this, it's not a recreational substance. This is the God particle. Like you literally realize that you are God having a human experience. And the powerful thing about that is when you realize that and you feel it, because you do feel it, your worldly problems become very small. You realize you are this divine being in this human form having this earth walk experience, and stop worrying so much because of you realize, you feel who you truly are. So plant medicine is a very powerful tool that when used correctly will change your life. When used incorrectly, it can bring you into psychosis. You can have horrible visions. You can nightmarish for hours long. So it comes like there's a gatekeeper. Like you treat me with respect, and I will give you amazing insights and answers to some of life's most difficult questions. You treat me with disrespect, and you're not going to want to do that again. So I hope this helps a little bit. I personally don't do plant medicine anymore. I bring people through ceremony, but now that I'm down in America, that's a lot more of a touchy subject. I was doing this when I was in Canada. So it's one of those tools that when used correctly will change your life, will help you in ways. It helps. They're using psilocybin now, microdosing for PTSD. There's clinical trials. Like this is real. This is real medicine. Forget the pharmaceuticals. You know, you take one, I've been there. I took 16 pharmaceuticals a day. You take one and you take 2 more to counteract the side effects of the first one. It's toxic. It's poison. It's not natural. Sometimes we need it. We have a heart condition, you know, whatever. But it's not the medicine that's going to give you the answers. More often than not, it'll dull and numb your senses that are made to be able to receive the messages conveyed from our ancestors and higher powers. So I hope this helps. I know it's helped me. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.